Public Protector Advocate Busisiwe Mkhwebane says efforts to investigate COVID-19 corruption have been met with resistance. She's pointed the finger at some members of the executive and senior government officials, including heads of department. Let's speak to her tonight. We're joined by Advocate Busisiwe Mkhwebane. Good evening and thank you so much for your time on News at Prime. Firstly, what has been your experience so far in this process of gathering information and conducting your own investigations?
Good evening to the viewers of Newzroom Afrika. I would like to say that I met with the team which deals with all COVID-related investigations, especially, in fact, myself and the Deputy Public Protector and the Chief Executive Officer of the Public Protector. So they raised several concerns that some HODs, they do not want to cooperate with them. They will tell them that they've given the documents to the SIU or to AG South Africa. And others are even saying, even members of the executive committee, especially the MECs, they will say that. So hence the issuance of the statement calling upon all the officials and the members of the executive, reminding them about the mandate of the Public Protector, the powers of the Public Protector, and also, in other words, also pleading with them to cooperate with our investigators in various provinces.
When one looks at the multiple investigations underway right now, there, of course, can be questions around whether there aren't parallel processes being run and the extent to which much of the work that is being done would also be duplicated. So perhaps maybe clarify for us, what are you investigating that's different to what the SIU is looking into and different to what the Auditor General is going to be looking into?
You know, we issued this statement exactly or purely just to clarify to the South Africans and everyone the mandate of the Public Protector. And I did the same when I was visiting various provinces, meeting with members of the executive, because they used to say, but the SIU is investigating. The Public Protector is the Chapter 9 institution established in terms of Section 182 of the Constitution, and it's a constitutional body which has the mandate to investigate any improper conduct in state affairs and in public administration, issue a report and remedial actions. So therefore the Public Protector's remedial actions are intended to correct and to right the administrative wrongs which are there in the system. So if people can understand our role, that when we pick up any systemic challenges, when we pick up any maladministration, we then issue a report. And if we have very committed, efficient, and public servants, if you are a new HOD or you are a municipal manager or you are a CEO, you would then start by saying, is there any investigation of the Public Protector within the institution, so that you don't repeat the mistakes which were done by your predecessors? Therefore, the SIU is a statutory body. It doesn't issue binding remedial actions. The SIU is investigating after the issuance of the proclamation by the executive, which is the president, which is done through the Department of Justice. And it needs to be clear to South Africans that once the proclamation is issued, the SIU will investigate. They will then compile a report which will be sent to the very same executive, who will then decide whether to implement those recommendations. And yes, I must hasten to say the SIU is very critical, because members of the executive can use them to assist them in the investigation and as a way of combating corruption or maladministration. But it needs to be very clear that they can do that on an individual proclamation. Whereas when the Public Protector has issued a report, it doesn't mean when the report has a finding against the Western Cape, the Eastern Cape cannot go to that Public Protector report and learn from that. whereas the AG South Africa, Auditor General South Africa, conducts audits on various transactions as well, compliance to the PFMA. But remember as well, currently the Auditor General and the SIU, we do engage on our investigations. But the AGs, for now, they haven't issued any report with binding remedial actions. Yes, the amendment of the AG legislation does give them in the long run that they would then hold whoever has violated or repetitive material audit findings against that particular institution. So that's the difference. And I need to also make it very clear that when the Hawks is investigating, they focus on purely criminal conduct. And when that matter is taken then for prosecution by the National Prosecuting Authority, they focus on the criminal conduct. They deal with that individual. It's not a systemic issue. Whereas the public protector, once a report is issued, any institution, any HOD, any DG, any MEC can learn from that particular report which has been issued so that they don't repeat the very same challenges.
All right.